What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back for not a VOD review. Today is going to be the patch 13.6 review rundown because we got a new patch dropping tomorrow, and I want to go over everything that is in this patch. I haven't even looked at all of it myself yet, so this is going to be like patch reaction rundown type thing. But I'm excited. It looks like a pretty big patch, which is a bit crazy. Also, yeah, I'm gonna have to like zoom in and zoom out of these, but yeah, I'll make it work. All right. So first thing is that gold orbs have been rebalanced. This is something that a lot of really high elo players were talking about, that it's just like, you know, the gold that you get from a gold orb, you know, versus, you know, something like a 2-star 4 cost. Oftentimes, you know, stage 2, stage 3, if you can't specifically use one of these 4 costs, or I mean, ideally both of them, you're really just not in a great spot compared to someone who got like a greater duplicator, or, you know, other people who have, you know, a similar setup, even like 2-star 3 costs. So these have been rebalanced. I overall think this is good. This is like the biggest difference, I think, this 2 gold to 6 gold for the 2-star 4 costs, which did feel, you know, oftentimes you're going to have to sell 1, maybe even 2 of these 4 costs, and then you are way behind in, you know, tempo compared to someone who has a 2-star 3 cost here, and that's, you know, getting buffed up comparatively by less. So yeah, overall, I think this is a good change. I think this gets us a bit closer to balance, and similar thing here. These being changed. The spat pan plus component and blister forger. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is being, yeah, I mean, I think this is one that I think a lot of people complain about as well. It's just that spat these days and a reforger, there's just so much that you can get out of a spat or a pan. And so nerfing the amount of gold that you get with that, I think perfect. So yeah, I overall think this is a really good change. Something that a lot of people, a lot of high elo players were complaining about. So I think, yeah, nice change from the team there. All right, let's get into traits here. Also, I'm realizing that my head is blocking like a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna move my head over here. All right, Automata here being buffed up again. It's kind of hilarious where Automata was like, it was garbage, and they buffed it really hard, and it was insanely broken for like a patch, and then they nerfed it back, and now it's kind of in like the garbage state again, and now it's being buffed back up again a little bit, right? 55 to 60, not a huge change, you know, about a 10% buff. 100 to 111, also about a 10% buff. So, I mean, these are meaningful buffs, and, you know, 10% is sizable in TFT. So these should, I think this is about right in my head. Chem Baron, now this is what I'm actually kind of worried about. If anybody watched some of the Tacticians Cup, there were some crazy Chem Baron games with just kind of like Chem Baron reroll type stuff. This is already something that I think a lot of people, I really wanted to do a VOD review of this, but I didn't actually get time to. The kind of like Chem Baron Visionary type setups, though Visionary is being nerfed in a way, so maybe it's okay. But also just, you know, like Chem Baron reroll, roll for a Smeech 3, play ambushers with him. The 200 and 300 rewards are, I mean, they're not bad, and also, you know, the amount of shimmer that you're getting when your loss streaking is increased. So I'm a little worried about this potentially, but we'll keep an eye on it. Conquer early game buffs, I think this is perfect. I want to be excited, right, to get like a Draven drop or a Darius drop early and to hit like a Draven 2 or something, but these units are just ass these days. So I think this is a really good change. Enforcer 8-piece nerf, I think 48 to 40. I mean, it's a sizable nerf. As long as the comp didn't receive any other nerfs, I guess this is fine. 8 Enforcer definitely did outperform a bit. So okay, as long as there's not any other like big nerfs to the comp, I think this is reasonable, because I think it's definitely a bit strong, but not like disgustingly strong. Here are some of the changes that people are really starting to talk about, like. Is this okay? I've heard talk that family is being gigabuffed this patch, maybe like way too far. And so this is the first one. The family mana reduction being buffed up pretty considerably at 3 to 4 family, which, I mean, yeah, this is a big buff. This is, I mean, 25 to 30%, you know, if you think it's like a 20% buff, but it's also weird, like, yeah. In any case, in 30 to 35%, a little bit lower, but, you know, similar. 14% buff, I guess. No, wait, 5 out of 6, whatever. 1 in 6, what is that, 18? What is 1 out of 6 as a percentage? I was doing 1 out of 7 is 14. 16.6 repeating. Okay, so yeah. A 16% buff, I mean, it's not bad. It is not bad at all. Family, though, is definitely in need of buffs, right? I'm not against family being buffed whatsoever. I do think this comp needs some love. So we'll see what the other stuff is. Form Swapper, this is an interesting one. So a little, I mean, not actually that little. 10% buff to the DR, 10% buff to the damage amp. Honestly, I mean, the thing about Form Swapper is you can't really like be like, I'm going to play a Form Swapper game because you need to get to Jace, and you can't guarantee that. But I've seen a lot of, Form Swapper flex type stuff, Form Swapper emissaries type stuff. I actually wanted to do a VOD review today, but then I realized like new patch coming out. Do I really want to do a VOD review on this patch? Of Iron Bog, rank 1 Taiwan, ended up playing like a Form Swapper emissary game and ended up just like stomping the lobby. Like this is, I almost feel like this is unneeded. I know they want people to kind of be excited to play Form Swapper, so I guess that's the idea. But I actually feel like this is probably unneeded, but we'll see. And then Pit Fighter, this is already where people are kind of starting to worry where, okay, Family's getting buffed. And then Pit Fighter, I mean, this is a substantial buff to the healing, 25 to 35, 45 to 55. Obviously, that's not the whole power level of Pit Fighter, but yeah, I mean, these two buffs themselves, if the units are getting buffed at all, then I think it's a bit scary. And this is a very, very sizable buff. So yeah. All right, let's move in. Quick Striker for Quick Striker buff, I'm actually a bit surprised to see. I feel like for Quick Striker is one of the comps that's actually overperforming, especially like the TF version, though it's kind of like, that version, sometimes you don't even play for Quick Striker because you care about TF. And then 6 scrap, 6-piece shield, per component. This is a green number, but that is a lower number. So I have to assume that this is a nerf and that this is just coded incorrectly. I was about to say, we're buffing 6 scrap. Yeah, this seems about right. 6 scrap, definitely quite strong, but not like so disgusting that like you need to kneecap it or something. This is an interesting sniper rework, and I think in the slides there was a little note about how this is a buff at like the lower levels of sniper, and then as you get to further, like the lower distances of sniper, and then as you get to like 5 hexes or 6 hexes, like 5 hexes is neutral and 6 hexes is a nerf, or maybe it's 6 hexes neutral, 7. No, I think it's 5 and 6. Which, I mean, I guess I'm fine with. I mean, I don't know. Force Sniper has never really found its spot in the meta this entire set, and so maybe this will get us there. This is I mean, remember like previous sets like Force Sniper, like Ash Porcelain, like Ash, Force Sniper, 4 Warden, Ash Amumu type stuff. I mean, certainly we don't want to get to that level where you're always playing this. I would, I'm happy to play more flexible boards. I like that. I think this set's been pretty good from a flexibility standpoint. And overall, I think this is about the same. It's not supposed to be like a big hit. Like it's not supposed to be like a big buff at 4 and like a big nerf at 2 or anything like that. It's supposed to just be consistent, just like a little bit of buff to the lower ranges. So, I mean, I don't really care about this, I will say. I guess if it makes snipers a little bit more consistent, good. I guess it's a nerf at the long ranges, which is like for, something like a Twitch comp. I mean, usually you're obviously playing at those really, really long ranges, so it's probably a net slight nerf to Twitch, which I don't necessarily think is needed, but maybe the other buff. I'm interested in seeing it at least. Okay, this here, a pretty decent Sork nerf here, about 10%, and then a little bit less than 10% at 6. I think this is absolutely needed. Sorks are, I mean, the best AP, the default AP line, so I mean, I think this makes perfect sense. And then a 6-piece Visionary slight nerf, I think this is fine as well. And then Watcher buffs, I think really, really good. Watcher is kind of really fallen by the wayside. I mean, the one statement from a high elo player that made me think about this, and I was like, wow, like, I mean, it is kind of disgusting. The fact that Zeri Reroll right now, the board is play Sentinels, is just, it doesn't make sense. You should play Watchers in that comp. It just fits. There is a Watcher Firelight. Why are you playing? I mean, it just does not make any sense that you play Zeri Reroll with Sentinels here. So maybe this gets us to the point where we can actually play Watcher Reroll or just play Watchers in the mid game. For Watcher feels pretty underwhelming. So hopefully that's the case. All right, unit buffs here. Buff to Akali. I am very much down for that. This is, I mean, honestly, she's okay in the Quick Striker comp. Double buff to Quick Striker comp. Maybe there'll be a compensation nerf to TF or something? If not, then it seems like this Quick Striker comp is just getting straight up buffed, which I don't really think is, I mean, I think it's solid. Leona buffs, honestly, I think they need to go further. This unit is she feels so bad to itemize. Very often I am like, would I rather have items on an Irelia 2 or a Leona 2? Which it shouldn't be a question. It should never be a question. Like they need to buff the DR on Leona, or like, I mean, they're probably not gonna like rework her ability or anything like that, but Yeah, I mean, this unit I think needs even more than this. Yeah, I don't know how this unit has been this bad for this long, but it is also, someone made the good point that like DR tanks tend to just not be great in general, and Singed was the only, DR tank that was ever good this set, and his numbers were one, crazy, and two, he could pair up with Renata that could give him a shield. So maybe a good point that DR tanks are just really, really hard to balance. Who's to say? All right, this is another one that I'm like, whoa. Renata, so a little bit of a mana nerf, and then a pretty big nerf to her secondary damage. This is like the AoE damage that she does. It's a secondary, so I have to imagine that's what is that's what is being nerfed here. And I guess I could actually just look at her number right now and see 350. Yeah, so yeah, it's a nerf to the AoE damage. This seems like, I would say, too much. I think this comp is like pretty like about there, like maybe nerf to like that 6 visionary nerf and maybe this mana nerf. I don't really think it needs a damage nerf as well. Like this seems like way too much. I think a lot of people are saying this just completely kills the Renata comp, which I mean, I certainly think that it seems like it would. So I don't understand why Renata is being nerfed this hard. This seems like overkill. This seems like you're not going to want to play Renata reroll almost at all at this point, because it's a huge damage nerf. And yes, it's not on the single target piece of it, but still, I mean, the secondary damage is what's softening up the other units so that she can kill them on multiple casts. And I mean, the mana nerf is also real. Urgot nerf as well, pretty huge here. 700 650 HP, gets a little bit of AS, but honestly, like, who really cares about AS on units like Urgot? A lot of the mana that a unit like Urgot is generating is from taking damage, and so AS is, I mean, and they know that, right? That's why they're giving this as like a little bit of compensation buff, but also huge mana nerf, right? Not a big deal for, they actually made the first cast a little bit easier to reach here. It's only 45 mana instead of 50, but 90 mana instead of 70. That's a big nerf to Urgot, who also, I think, I mean, it's hard because like when you hit the, it's the Sterak's augment, Unleash the Beast. When you hit this comp is disgusting. But outside of that, it feels like very well balanced. So I almost feel like they could nerf Unleash the Beast in some way. I don't know how exactly you would nerf it, but maybe some way to like nerf that a little bit, and then, I mean, leave Urgot as is. It seems crazy that he's being hit this hard. I think a lot of people are also really afraid that this Urgot comp is just not going to exist after the patch, which that kind of balance thrashing, especially like right before regionals on all the regions, is a bit, it is crazy. So yeah, not a fan of these changes. And then Vander, pretty big buff here, 5 AD and 5 armor MR. Yeah, this is a huge Vander buff, along with the family buff, is pretty wild, especially when Gloves Off Vander is already like really overperforming. I have to imagine that they're nerfing Gloves Off to compensate for this, but I guess we'll see as we get further in. All right. Units, Blitzcrank, big buff, and Cassiopeia, the Dominators, the Dominators, big buffs to them. I like this a lot, these units. I mean, yeah, Blitzcrank had his moment in the sun with Dominators for a little bit, but yeah, they've been pretty bad forever. You've never been excited to play Cassiopeia roll. I mean, it's 100 damage increase for Cassiopeia on her miasma damage. I mean, I want Cassiopeia reroll to exist at some point in this set, so I'm down for this, but yeah, I mean, a bit crazy. And that's a huge buff to Blitz as well. I'm down for Blitz Cassio reroll on next patch. I mean, this is a huge buff, but I do think it's necessary. Maybe a little bit less than this. This seems a bit crazy, but I guess we'll see. Dominators definitely need some love. DR buff, once again, we were talking about the kind of like the DR tanks not feeling great. Nunu also just not a very fun unit to be your tank, and so a bit of a buff there. I like that. Rennie buff here. So they're buffing Chem Baron. They're buffing Rennie as well. I wonder if like the Chem Baron reroll type stuff or this like Rennie Visionary type reroll type stuff will become more prevalent. The only thing is oftentimes you're playing that with like Renata reroll, so I guess that's the counter to that. But I mean, 10 off her max mana is really nice, and then a decent buff on her. I mean, a great buff on her spell heal early, and then like once you get to 3-star, it's a little bit of, I mean, still a buff. I mean, yeah, almost. I don't know. I was not of the impression this Rennie unit was like too bad or anything like that, but yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure about this. And then Swain, a buff or a nerf to his spell damage. Yeah, I think this is fine. I'm surprised that there's no buff to Tank Swain. Tank Swain is ass. I think one of the biggest mistakes, been doing more coaching recently, modifying the description down below. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen people do a lot is, frontlining Swain and saying, yeah, this is good. This will be my tank for the whole game. And then realizing, oh, frontline Swain is just, he's not doing it. He's not tanking past like stage 2, maybe a little bit stage 3, but definitely stage 4, stage 5. This unit is hot garbage. And it's necessary for him to be a good tank for the sword comp to exist, especially because we're nerfing the sword comp as well. So I'm surprised. Like, I'm fine with nerfing Swain's damage a bit. I think this is fine. And it's not a nerf at 3-star, so you still have that cap. But I'm really surprised that there's no buff to tank Swain. I feel like that's absolutely necessary. Ooh, all right. We got some Silco buffs here. So maybe Dom's back on the menu here. Okay, though it's just a buff at 1 star for the Val damage, and then the minion damage, a teeny tiny buff. I mean, with how Dominators feel right now, I feel like Silco needs more. Yeah, I think they probably could have gone further on this. I mean, this is a tiny buff at Silco 2-star. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they could do some more on this, but I mean, I guess we'll see. And then experiment HP percent damage bonus. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, Twitch, like I said, he's getting a little bit of a hit potentially in that sniper nerf. Though I guess a buff at smaller distances and a nerf it further. But overall, I think that's a nerf onto Twitch, and so I think a little bit of buff here is good for Mr. Twitch, because I think this comp is, I mean, a little bit underperforming. I would say it needs a little bit more even. All right, 5 costs, and they're basically across the board. I think this is great. 5 costs have felt disgusting. If you hit an early 5 cost, you know, on level 7 or level 8, this can completely change your game. So Caitlyn nerf, I think, is good. LeBlanc nerf, I think, is good. Pretty decent. Wow, yeah, actually a pretty big LeBlanc nerf, but I think this is about right, though. Sorks, they hit Sorks, they hurt Swain, they hurt LeBlanc. Then there's no compensation, right? I don't think they're getting buffed anywhere, so I do feel like this is a bit too much, but I guess, yeah, I feel like, you know, triple nerf on Sorks, yeah, I feel like that's a bit much when the comp is obviously overperforming, but yeah, you're hitting all the big piece, and I mean, you're hitting the trait itself, so yeah, I guess you're not hitting Zoe, but I mean, it's gonna be, you're gonna be lower cap with you know, 4 or 6 Sork, you're gonna be lower cap with a LeBlanc, it's gonna be harder to get there with stuff like the Swain, still no Swain frontline. I feel like the perfect buff would have been, yeah, just buff Swain frontline, and then Sorks would have been chef's kiss, but all right. Rumble, a bit of a nerf to him as well. Yeah, I mean, this Rumble unit's kind of disgusting, so I think this is fine. And a little bit up to Savika. I'm down. Savika is definitely like one of the less exciting 5 costs to get. And a mana buff, get her casting more often. I like it. All right, and okay, a nerf to Warwick. I mean, this is what everybody was asking for. This unit has just been disgusting for I mean, a reasonable amount of time, I guess, a patch, but yeah, I mean, good nerf to his execute and to his healing. I think this is perfect. Yeah, love that. All right, items, intervening locket, mana gain can no longer overflow. Works the same way as mana gain from taking damage directly. Does this kill the innervating locket Kog'Maw stuff? I imagine it would. I mean, innervating locket, it's kind of weird because, like, obviously, obviously it was out. Well, I mean, that Kog'Maw setup is kind of hilarious. It's probably not even very good, but yeah, and I mean, obviously it's outperforming really hard with Urgot as well. But I mean, I'm just looking, I just pulled up the stats here to confirm my suspicions. It's one of the worst artifacts to take stats-wise, probably because people are doing it on this Kog'Maw setup and like inting placements for free, but I maybe would have liked to see some kind of compensation for it because it's just a straight up nerf on one of the ones that statistically is one of the worst in the game. So yeah, especially because Urgot's being nerfed already. So when would you ever take Innervating Locket now? I don't understand. I mean, maybe this is not as big a nerf. I don't know under what circumstances like the mana overflow is a big deal, but I feel like it probably is quite a big deal on stuff like Urgot, on stuff like Kog'Maw. So yeah, a bit weird. All right, Diversified Portfolio Plus. I'm pretty sure this was just bugged to still be 2 gold, so nerfing that. Did they ever fix that? Because they said they buffed it and then there was like some kind of bug with it. Did they ever fix that bug? Because if they had, then wouldn't it have been buffed back? Okay. Kingslayer buff, I mean, perfect. I mean, yeah, this augment is not very exciting. Support mining, a little bit of a nerf. I'm down for table scraps, a little bit of nerf. I haven't actually got a chance to take the new the table scraps yet. So, but I mean, I do think it sounded really strong, especially in something like table scraps. Seems kind of disgusting. So I mean, yeah, three sounds about right to me for a silver augment, but yeah. And then Titanic Titan buff, I mean, yeah, I'm never excited to take this either. All right, gold augment, climb the ladder too, given a little bit extra stats. Yeah, I mean, you never see people taking this one, and I like the augment in theory, so I like this buff. Okay, so there is a nerf to Gloves Off Vander, at least pretty substantial nerf. Okay, so now I can see why they buffed up Vander a bit, though I mean, we'll see with the everything else, but I mean, and if there's any other augment changes, but I mean, so the main thing, like if you just look at family from a comp, They're nerfing Gloves Off pretty substantially, buffing Vander pretty substantially, so that's about power neutral. And then they're buffing Family the Trade pretty substantially, and they're buffing Pit Fighter. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. Those buffs, to me, honestly, I've heard people say that like Family's gonna be broken. Those nerfs to me, or those buffs to me, don't sound that disgusting. But I mean, we'll see tomorrow. Overheal, perfect. Yeah, this one stinks. Spirit Link. Why is Spirit Link offerable at 2-1? And this is still in the game. They're not getting rid of that, but okay. I mean, at least they're buffing it a little bit. Team Up Mentorship. Okay. Wait, which one is Mentorship? Bring me up the the augments. I just look at the pictures, I guess. Mentorship. Not mentorship. Am I crazy? I'm searching mentorship. What? Is this? Am I losing my mind? Mentorship. I don't know what that is. AD share? Okay. Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, someone in the, I mean, I'm not obviously watching the video with Mark Dog talking, so oh, this is martial law? Yeah. That's the Mbessa AD share of Kaylin's AD. That's martial law. I don't know why it's called mentorship there. Okay. I mean, martial law needs a nerf, so I'm down for that. The reunion, the Vian Echo one nerfed. Yeah, I mean, this one really need to be hit as well. Too much value? Oh, okay. Beautiful. Back down to two costs. I think that's perfect. And then Unleash the Beast. Yeah, I mean, so they nerfed Unleash the... We're nerfing Locket. Sorry, I bumped my mic there. We're nerfing Locket. We're nerfing Unleash the Beast. Yeah, I can see why people said this comp doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, this feels like way too much for that comp. All right, Priz, little less gold for level up, perfect. Definitely outperforming. Blazing Soul, a little bit of a nerf. I think that's perfect as well. Blinding Speed. Oh, what? It grants a GS now? Wasn't a lot of the time when you took this augment to get the red buff? Huh. Yeah, I mean, it seems like quite strange to me. Yeah, I don't really exactly get this, but okay. I mean, I think what is the other one called? I'm trying to think of what the other one is, and I'm like, and I'm scrolling through all the gold augments to try to find it, which is not going to help me out here. Here, let me just pull over. Is there a better place to see all augments, by the way? Because I just pull up the augment, like a dish soap augment tier list here to be able to look at all the augments. So there's Blinding Speed, and then what's the other one that gives a bunch of items? Not any of these. I mean, if I don't find it on one, I mean, obviously it's not any of the ones with circle. I can use my brain to like figure out what I'm looking for. Piercing Lotus, Freaky Friday, Living Forge, Birthday Present, Movable Object, Blinding Speed. Okay, maybe I'm just losing my mind. Give me 2 seconds actually, because I know there's a point here. All right, I can't find it. Well, yeah, a bit weird to me, but all right. Ghost of Friends Past. Oh, a buff for this. Okay. I mean, yeah, this one's been basically untakeable since they destroyed it, so fair enough. And then quality over quantity nerf's beautiful as well. All right. Oh, anomaly changes. All right, a little bit of a bully nerf. I think that's fine. For restyling, wow. Was this really underperforming? Huh. Okay. I'm surprised by this buff. Heavy hitter. I mean, yeah, this one's so rough. Hive Mind now functions on first takedown instead of kill. Huh. So the unit doesn't have to secure the kill. That's cool. Fix it over, stop functioning on death. Oh, that's, yeah. I mean, I barely ever see anybody take this. So yeah, hungry for power. I mean, I love this one, so I think I'm down to buff this a bit more. And it is, you know, you can't reliably play for it, so I think buffing it pretty hard is good. Hyper velocity, the AS going up to 20%. That's not bad. Infectious nerf, God bless. I wonder if this is even too little of a nerf because it's only 2% on the base. I wonder if you maybe need to nerf this even further. And then Repulsor, I mean, yeah, another one that I'm not that excited for. All right, and then just some bug fixes. Yeah, I don't think this is anything crazy. All right. Oh, using your Reforger unit will comment to delete the Reforger? I mean, that's cool. I feel like there's the one where like you try to reforge and then it like pops back for some reason. I don't know what the deal with that is. Okay, so overall, I would say like my summary of the patch, everybody says family is gonna be giga broken. We'll see. It doesn't seem that unreasonable to me. And I mean, come back and laugh tomorrow if family's broken. I mean, look, nobody's got 100% hit rate. I do think it's quite weird what they're doing to some of these 2-cost reroll lines. Like they're actively like killing Urgot and Renata, and I'm not sure why. I don't think they needed to be killed this hard. And they're triple buffing this Quick Strikers line, and with no compensation nerf, right? Akali buff, they're buffing Quick Striker 4-piece, and then they're like buffing something else about it that I already forgot. But like, yeah, I don't understand why that comp is actually being triple buffed when like it's like not bad on its face. So yeah, pretty odd to me. And then this Chem Baron stuff also scares me, with Renata being buffed, with Chem Baron being buffed, or not Renata being buffed, Rennie being buffed, and then Chem Baron being buffed. So that scares me as well. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the rundown. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, check my meta file, my other stuff down below. I will see you guys tomorrow for a VOD on the new patch, probably from my VOD checker tool. I'm gonna try to get some on the other servers, so that'll be hype. And yeah, I'll see you guys then for that. Thanks for watching.